standing during the visit of Cyril Ramaphosa to the farm of Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa. That is the Prickable farm. We saw Wicknell Chivayo being seen in pictures with Cyril Ramaphosa, and afterwards going to an extent of even writing a lengthy statement regarding the visit of Cyril Ramaphosa and the personality of Cyril Ramaphosa as a human being. Public backlash from the people of Zimbabwe, as well as also the South Africans, including the Democratic Alliance, who were at President's apologies for the longest break in transmission. Greetings and welcome to your lovely channel, the Hlonipani Global News. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember, do not forget to press the subscribe button. So, Wicknell Chivayo may find himself in trouble with the South African authorities as they have intensified investigations. According to the legal brief, this is what it has written, that SA regulators probe Zimbabwean socialite for money laundering. And it says South African financial regulators are probing a Johannesburg printing company for possible money laundering offenses linked to a kickback scandal in Zimbabwe. Reports the Daily Maverick. Last year, an article by the Sentry and Open Secrets in the DM uncovered how the firm Rainform supplied overpriced election materials to Zimbabwe in partnership with Wicknell Chivayo, a politically connected tenderpreneur accused of making payments to ministry officials in Harare. Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission launched an investigation after the Newshawk newspaper revealed that Rainform had invoiced the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission ZEC 23 million rand for a server that normally cost 90,000 and charged 68,700 for portable toilets, which retail for about 10,000 per unit. Chivayo was recorded discussing the sharing of the proceeds of the ZEC tender with the Zimbabwean officials referred to by their initials or code names. Now, a leaked investigation report sent from SA's Financial Intelligence Center, FIC, to its counterpart in Zimbabwe has uncovered just how much the ZEC paid Rainform and how much the printing firm in turn paid its agent. Rainform received over 1 billion rand from the Zimbabwe Ministry of Finance and Economic Development. More than 800 million was transferred to the business bank accounts of Wicknell Chivayo. The FIC report analyzed the bank accounts belonging to Rainform and Chivayo, finding that Chivayo's businesses frequently transferred money onto his personal account. Chivayo is a larger than life socialite, often seen in President Emerson Mnangagwa's company. He is also known for luxury fleet of cars, including some he was gifted. He has gifted to politically connected individuals in Zimbabwe. According to the DM, the FIC report identified 36.5 million in payments from Chivayo's Standard Bank account between January 2023 and September 2024 that appeared to be payments towards car purchases. The revelation that 8 in 10 rands sent to Rainform by the Zimbabwean government were passed on to Chivayo's business bank accounts will raise new questions about the purpose of those commission payments. The leaked investigation, originally obtained by Zimbabwean media outlet ZimLive, names some of the recipients of Chivayo's fund. They include entities controlled by businessmen allegedly linked to the remittance payment industry in Zimbabwe, suggesting some of those funds may have found their way back to Harare. The report also shows how, in addition to paying Reform, Zimbabwe's finance ministry also paid 157 million directly to Chivayo's South African registered firm, that is Eden Breeze. These payments occurred in July and September 2024 after the Zimbabwe's Anti-Corruption Commission announced its investigation. That probe has apparently stalled, but with Cyril Ramaphosa visiting Zimbabwe and also the South Africans complaining on Cyril Ramaphosa's association with Wicknell Chivayo during his visit to Zimbabwe. We've seen government officials coming out distancing Cyril Ramaphosa from Wicknell Chivayo, saying he was a guest for Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. He was not a guest for the president of South Africa, and as such the president of South Africa could not have invited a guest for Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa chose the person who is a person of interest by the institutions of South Africa to associate with him. Ramaphosa was not aware and he didn't know him, and he had no control in terms of who should be invited in his meeting with Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. And by just Wicknell Chivayo appearing in numerous pictures with the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, that on its own stained the name of Cyril Ramaphosa, because it gave an impression that the president of South Africa knew this man, and definitely there was high probability that there were deals which were being secured, because it is believed afterwards Wicknell Chivayo had a meeting with Cyril Ramaphosa alongside Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, and he couldn't actually stop from being seen everywhere where the president of South Africa, that is Cyril Ramaphosa, was, and he went a step further, communicating on behalf of the in fact it was on behalf of the government, making more revelations and implications, especially after Cyril Ramaphosa had departed back to South Africa. But what Mnangagwa wanted to use to spin good propaganda over his constitutional amendment bill number 3 of 2026 turned out to be a nightmare, especially for him, as the South African president has consistently denied having association with the corrupt Wicknell Chivayo. An impression, because that is what criminals do. They will actually seek to associate with people who are blameless, people who are actually clean, who are doing well in their respective countries, to try and actually give an impression, because Chivayo's pictures, they were meant to give an impression that he is in good terms with Cyril Ramaphosa. But South Africa is a democratic country. If a president is seen with a criminal in another country, definitely he has to answer a lot of questions, especially a person of interest in his respective country, and he is asked by independent institutions as well as opposition political parties whose voices in South Africa matters more than in Zimbabwe, because in Zimbabwe the political voice of opposition is always thwarted by ZANU-PF. But in democratic countries, the political voice of the opposition can actually mean a lot, and it can put a sitting president in trouble, and he may actually find himself facing impeachment in his home country. That is why he keeps on consistently distancing himself against the criminal tenderpreneur, that is Wicknell Chivayo, who is investigated in South Africa. And I must emphasize, he is a person of interest when it comes to South Africa over his dodgy payments that were associated with him. Is still investigated. We will see how those investigations will actually go about. And remember, he can be extradited from Zimbabwe to face his crimes in South Africa, especially when there is sufficient evidence that indeed there were wrongdoings associated with the payments that he received. Thank you very much for watching us. If you are watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. Okanqubo Mhlabane is signing out. Let me love and leave you. Let's meet on the other side of the live broadcast.